We're live.
We are live.
We are live.
Welcome to the first ever live Filmfest crew panel. I'm Dave.
And I'm Brad.
And welcome. Thank you so much for supporting us here at TVR Universe. Watch and enjoy as we answer questions from the TVR Universe.
Indeed. Genuine questions, I might add. None of these
are completely made up. Anyway, let's get started with the first panel.
Shall we dive right in?
Let's dive right in. Crack on with the first question.
Okay, here we go.
Here we go. Live on the TVR Universe, I'll have you know.
Got the right glasses on so I can see.
There we go.
Okay, you ready for this?
Feel a bit nervous.
Yeah, so you should be. The TVR logo and branding has recently been updated. Why did you do this? Well, that's a long story.
It's a long story. How
Not
long
really.
you got?
Yeah.
Is that to me?
I think it's an open question. So.
All right. I'll start on that. Basically, obviously, TVR Universe or TV Random, whatever you call it, is constantly changing, evolving all the time, which I'm sure you would agree. And obviously, with the times, you have to evolve as well. And obviously, you need logos and covers that project that sum that up or whatever. So
Correct.
basically, this is the 5th logo that the TVR Randoms had, and so we wanted something that summed up what we are now, wasn't it? And
Very true.
we're getting much more into photography now, much more into making more professional films, that sort of thing. So here's the logo right in front of you and on our t-shirts as well. Awesome. Yeah, and we spent a long time, didn't we? Spent one night.
Yeah, we did spend an awful lot of time trying different things, didn't we? Looking at different ideas, and we wanted something that would, particularly with the logo, for instance, we wanted something that was going to sum everything up that we feel the TVR universe is all about.
Yeah,
Is that right?
exactly. And the camera with the TVR universe just felt it just made sense, didn't it?
Correct. Yeah. It's, I don't know. It's grown, as you quite rightly said. It's a bit more adult now, isn't it?
Just something more professional in time, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. And there's various different avenues that the TVR universe is going down. And as Dave quite rightly said, the camera, I think, best sums that up. We're looking at photography, series making. There's all sorts to it.
Yeah, it's not just about making silly videos and short films anymore.
No, that's it.
It's much more about doing photography, being more professional with that, making more professional films, short, medium, and long, whatever, and being brave in that. And obviously, the TVR universe is becoming more and more of a platform. And about 2 years ago, we decided we're going to turn it more into a platform, and that's what it is now. So it's a platform for creativity. So
That's it.
if somebody comes in, they're really good at poetry, they can do that, which that has happened. If somebody wants to just take pictures, that can happen, etc., etc. So you get the idea. So
There's multiple platforms into one, really, isn't it?
yeah,
So,
that's it. So I think
pretty much
Right.
hit the nail on the head.
knock out the next one, Frank.
I feel like I'm the master quizzer here.
I know, yeah. For £10 million.
So you'll find no, seriously. Okay, Benedict is considered as the new flagship of TV Random. Why do you think this is?
Simple answer is it's the best product and the main product of the TV Random and of the TVR universe. And as where before it was Titans and before that it was the John Hurt films, Benedict is sort of the main project of TV Random in a minute. So it makes sense, it's a flagship. So everything else is not less important by any means, but obviously the most time probably goes into Benedict.
Yeah.
And I think it shows as well, if I'm honest.
Yeah,
So that's pretty much, yeah.
I think my thoughts on that as well is obviously it's a part of the new branding. Effectively, it's kind of going down that avenue that we want to explore, the more sort of grown up adventure, really.
Yeah,
I think. And
that's true. I like to see like creative journey.
That's it. And
Hashtag.
Yeah, definitely. What he said. And I think it's come out conveniently, if you like, at the same time as the rebranding process, and it's just, I don't know, it's the bar that we want to be at, and yeah, I think that's pretty much.
Yeah, that's
really.
pretty much it. Really, it's the bar that we're striving towards now, and we want everything to be at that bar or higher, nothing
absolutely.
lower, and that's the truth, isn't it? Don't want anything that's rubbish. No point wasting our time in poor quality. It's all about high quality. in the hope that the better the quality is, the more you guys will find it engaging and interesting, and vice versa.
Very true. Yeah,
So there you go.
completely, 100%. Okay, do you want to do your? Yeah, all right, calm down.
Drum.
This table's taking far too much abuse. Right. Okay. Good one. What other projects are TVR working on at the moment? I will get my words out.
Oh yeah, we seem to be getting muddled up today, don't we? TV Random's the studio, TVR Universes, I think. Yeah. What was it? Other projects working on in it? Well,
yeah, I mean, all round by the looks of it. So the TVR universe is pretty much everything. So as you quite rightly said, photography is a big focus at the moment, I would say.
It's starting up on the platform.
Yeah, absolutely. There's other things in the pipeline on the TV Random side. So we've got the new reel.
Yeah, the new reel that we plan to make next year,
which is going to be awesome.
It's going to be awesome. So I can't wait to start that.
That'll be good, and that's well in the process of being made.
Yeah.
In the background, I think we're tinkering on the verge of starting up a screenplay for Benedict season 2. You'll be pleased to know. So
they got announced on Tuesday.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's going on in the background.
So we like to think many of you will be happy about that, because we like to think, well, it's quite obvious that you guys really love Benedict by all your feedback, which we very much appreciate. So it'd be silly not to make a season 2.
So this is where you hit the button. Yeah, so there's all sorts going on in the background.
Also got a couple of mini YouTube ideas.
That's it.
Mini series, but I don't want to hint
Won't give too much away.
Exactly. Here live on
spoon feeding that.
I'm here on live TV.
Yeah, literally. So look, you'll be pleased to know there's a lot going on. But of course, we're not going to churn out too much because we don't want our standards to drop.
That's a very good point. Lots of ideas, but it's working out what's important at the time and what's engaging to you guys at the time, and what we feel that you guys enjoy. And and we get much more feedback now than we've ever got, which is brilliant. So keep knocking that out.
Yeah, definitely.
We definitely mould what we do depending on the feedback that you give us. So keep doing that. It means a lot.
Quite right. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's
I think that's tied up.
Right.
We're wrapping through these questions. Look.
We are. We're wrapping them up. Okay. Oh, this is an awful question. I might just throw this one away.
Oh God.
Were there any parts of the Benedict series that you thought could have been better? And this is open to both. So.
Do you want to start, as it's usually me?
Yeah, I'm quite happy to. I think for me the majority of it was pretty good considering the equipment and the staff available. Not that you should make any excuses.
It's a fair comment.
Felt for me that the one thing that could have been better is particularly the last episode, and I think probably the final scene of that.
Wow.
It was, the majority of it was good. I just felt it could have been done in a different way, maybe, in hindsight. And I do kick myself over that personally, but I think as a whole, it was certainly one of the best projects done. It was filmed in a brilliant way. The screenplay was good. I did feel maybe in the first part of the season it kind of dragged on a little bit. If I'm being 100% honest. There wasn't much. Sorry, I'm good at that. I did feel there wasn't much development in the first part of that, particularly the first 2 episodes, I would say. But then it kind of kicked on and the story developed, which I'm quite pleased about. New characters were introduced, which is always positive. So for me, I'd say, definitely probably the last episode, and maybe the slow build up in the beginning.
Just been hard on yourself as you was in the last episode.
Yeah, I was. I don't know. I just don't feel like. I think there was a lapse in probably the planning stage, personally.
Oh, okay. That's and
it was.
It makes you feel any better. There was a lot of nice positive feedback on that.
No, I'm sure there was, but obviously you've got to be critical, and I feel as a group, as a team, for TV Random, I feel that is an area that we could look at and certainly improve on.
That's fair.
Being
fair feedback.
Brutally honest.
Yeah, being brutally honest. That's Valid point. I don't know. It's on the spot. It's hard to think of one particular thing I think could have been necessarily better. I mean, within the next to zero budget that we have, without having a big network behind that sense at the moment, it's hard to be too hard. But I'm always quite critical in the sense of always trying to think of how we can do things better, how we can film better, how we're more professional. It always helps when you've got a second or third person helping with filming.
Completely agree with that.
That showed in episode 2 when we did have a cameraman.
Yep. And credit to Polo for that.
Polo
Absolutely
for that.
brilliant
He's
job.
a very good cameraman.
Brilliant.
So shout out if he's watching this at any point. And he's a great cameraman. I think, being brutally honest, you can always improve it. No matter how good something is.
Well, that's the question.
You can watch.
So
yeah, I know.
stop being like a politician and answer it.
All right, maybe even more time on character development, or maybe feeling even more backstory to Benedict. Even more, maybe somehow add in a character somehow. Or maybe try and get 1 or 2 more people involved to maybe add in and 2 or 3 characters maybe.
Possibly.
Which is more difficult than people probably realise. But
I think ultimately, to summarise from that, it goes back to what I said about particularly that last scene. It's all in a planning stage, and I don't know. I just feel like we could have looking at it. I know it's annoying, but. We kick ourselves, trust me.
That is very, very true. And at least from this and watching this back, and so we can think about all those things in season 2. And I hope I see season 1.
No, it's not a case of hope. It will be ironed out.
It will be ironed out. See, ironed out. There you go.
Someone's getting fruity.
I know. Yeah. So basically, I see season 1. It's almost like Growing Pains, the first film of, say, the first Titans, maybe, or the first, especially the
I
films,
completely agree.
and it molds in. So hopefully we'll learn by not necessarily on mistakes as such, but just learn what works. Because Benedict, let's face it, every project is like it's like a new relationship almost. It's weird. There's probably a bad analogy to use, but it's almost like working out what works, what doesn't, etc., etc. So leading into season 2, we can take on board everything that we've learned from season 1. And push it to season 2. I know, it's not my phone for a change. Right, I don't know where I'm going with that. I'm rambling.
Yeah, he's
I'm trying not to
doing
do
his
today.
political talk and doesn't want to answer the question directly.
Next question.
But next question then, shall we?
Yeah, this is the next question.
Okay, here we go. You ready for this, big man?
Oh God.
Oh, this is.
Should I stand down at TV Random?
Yeah, that's actually what's on the plate now, isn't it? What would you consider as the top 5 productions within TV Random? Now that is
movie night.
Difficult, literally difficult. Okay, I think we can bounce off each other on this one.
Can Titans count as one? All 3 of them, in different ways.
Yes, it's a project, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's a production. So
okay.
Yeah, I would say that.
I'd have to say Titans.
Titans was a good.
There was like 3 or 4 of us involved in any of them at any one point. There was so much that went into them.
I'd say particularly more so the last bit.
Yeah,
certainly. Yeah.
Especially the last one. I just think there was a spin-off from the John Hurt films, or the Little Randoms that were called back in the day, and I always go way into that, but I'll just say that I see that almost like our film school, where I learned a lot of the filmmaking and the editing.
True.
So even back in the days, the last 2 John Hurt films that you was involved in, and our friend Sam Gibbs, who's just in a play in London. So shout out to Sam, salute to you. And he's going to New York soon to do that play, so look out for that.
Brilliant, doing really well.
He's doing very well for Sam. And I feel he helped us mould TV Random as well.
He did actually. He was quite a big fundamental part of it in the growing stages, I would say.
Yeah, definitely what I call the golden era.
The golden era.
But yeah, so going back to rambling on again. So yeah, I would say the John Hurt films in their time were good. So I'll definitely say the Titans.
Titans,
definitely. That's what the John Hurt films should have been or became, if that makes sense.
For me, I'm going to have to throw in The Walk, as in the original.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The Walk,
like a Charlie Chapman type video.
Yeah, that was it was different. So no dialogue.
Okay, right. Yeah.
more of a music video than anything else.
Do you want to hear the my version of the brief version of behind that?
Oh, no.
Trying to learn about filmmaking all the time, and a lot of that is just through self-discovery and exploring and just being creative. But basically, I was thinking when I made that, believe it or not, bear in mind it was 8 or 9 years ago now, at least, if not longer.
Yeah, no, it must be longer than that.
If not 10 years ago, right? If not more than that. It was really one of the early videos. Anyway, I was thinking how, when you think of when we film, and you always think of roughly how they try to film now, and I was thinking, how do they film originally? Back in the days of Charlie Chaplin and all the early silent movies of the 20s or whatever, and it was literally just a still camera, a very basic early camera, and they would just tell the story almost like a play, because early films was basically just like a play but with a camera.
It was more
like a stage
it was like a visual speech, wasn't it?
Yeah, you were telling the story by your facial expressions and all this business.
And your actions, rather than using dialogue.
Yeah, and that was basically the idea of the war, was literally just tell a brief 1 minute story of a character that was just doing whatever he did with chairs and whatever he was doing with his stick and that. And that was the idea. It was just, and then that turned into about 3 or 4 videos in the end, didn't it? And I wasn't expecting anything from that. And it's funny how the things I expect the least back from, if that makes sense, it got quite a big response at the time. Quite a lot of people, didn't it?
It did indeed.
And it's funny how things like that get, and then I could put weeks and weeks into another project and no one cares. It's just how it goes.
So true, absolutely. But it was that's got to be up there for me.
So we're saying the Walk then, and the Titans
and Titan series. Project. Yeah, I would say that definitely.
I'm going to say Heart for the Meadow.
Okay, yeah.
Just as an overall project.
Yeah, okay. So it kind of falls into the time when TV Random was kind of growing a little bit, wasn't it? Where it's kind of growing up.
Yeah.
No, I'll give you that.
Just as an overall project, like me, you especially, and then we got Dan to write the initial screenplay for that, and it just had somebody involved in every bit of it.
Brilliant filming in that as well.
Yeah.
Credit to Polo again. Well done, mate.
Yeah. It just felt like it had everyone in the right positions in that film.
It did.
And there was quite a few people involved in it. So, and everybody was in where they should be. You had like Dan doing the screenplay and the voiceover, but especially the writing. Yeah. And then we perfected it and changed it.
We dissected it and did it.
We had like Polo, who was the best cameraman in the group. So it was obvious he was going to be the main cameraman. Do you know what I mean? Everyone just seemed to fit.
Yeah. It was good group production.
Yeah. It felt like. It felt almost like a proper little professional production, didn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think going from that, a similar style, but sadly only had me involved, years before Real. I think most people watching this,
I was just about to say Real,
would have to say, and while we did say that first, I apologise when I'm watching this. We're literally getting stabbed by the seasons right now, because most people who know anything about TV Random will say, if I ask them, or for whatever comes out of the conversation, what's your best film? Or if I say to someone, "Oh, what's your favourite film that we've made?" Yeah. Most people just say Real, without even a second thought. They just go, "Yeah, Real."
Yeah,
don't they?
And that would be absolutely 100% one of the top flights. That's always been the.
There's a thing about
frustratingly the bar. So many projects have come out and haven't quite achieved that level. And if I'm being brutally honest, for a while that was the bar, and it was a very well thought out story. You did quite rightly say, sadly, it only had yourself in it, but in a way, I think because of the way that was filmed, it just worked.
It was a different time when I was coming out of the golden era, if you want. I was by myself at the point for whatever reason, and I felt I was in a mental position, because a lot of it's where you are in your life at the time. A lot of our films have evolved in that sense, and Real was feeling a bit like, just me now, what to do, just TV Random fade into nothing. Where does it evolve? What direction does it go? And it also came out of the idea that I was having a conversation with my granddad about people that are in the forces, and I can't remember the term off the top of my head, but pro-dramatic stress PTSD. That's the one. And the idea that people suffer mentally, and even now, I mean, that was made like 10 years ago.
It was.
And even now, there's still so little support or even knowledge of, unless you've got someone involved in it that understands that. And obviously I haven't had that myself, but I was just trying to explore the emotions that people must go through suffering, being in a war situation, and it was done in almost like what we call a physical theatre type method of expressing the emotion through physical theatre, really, wasn't it?
That's
it was all done through like weird, but it was just trying to express it through a different way rather than trying to be, whatever.
Quite right.
And I was also quite proud because it got showed at a SAFA presentation a few years later when loads of veterans actually watched it. It was like, I wasn't there, thank God, because I would be like, oh God,
bricking it.
Yeah, bricking it in case I didn't like it. It was like, oh God. But luckily, apparently, it was quite a hit and people actually really liked it.
Yeah,
so
no,
like,
it's a very likeable film, and it does touch and tug the heartstrings, I have to admit. So
Feel
if
free
you
to
haven't
watch
seen
that.
it, certainly give it a watch. It doesn't go on for very long, but it's
TVR Universe on this channel that you watch on the YouTube channel.
Yeah, absolutely. So give it a watch. Definitely.
So what's that? So that's Titans. Come on, age, haven't we? Titans, Hartford Meadow, The
Walk, Real. Okay, this is going to be a toughie.
I'll let Brad pick this
one. So I think we're going to have to obviously put it in, and quite rightfully so. We can talk about all of them, to be perfectly honest with you, but I would have to say at the number one spot, we've already said it has to be Benedict. It's got to be up there.
It's interesting.
It's
a fair point, actually.
It's top 5 productions. We've already discussed, Benedict and everything, and I think it's got to be up there. Definitely, it's
just from the feedback, the engagement, the response we've had from you guys.
We've had a lot of people watch it.
Put into it.
Yeah, and it's thumbs up all round generally, and like I said, that's now taking nothing away from Real. It's the new bar for us, and we only want to do better, effectively, and certainly with the next season.
I feel almost bad that I didn't think of that off the top end. I thought you were going to say like The Journey or something like
that. No, definitely not. The Benedict has to be up there. It's the new realm, and it's
hands down better than most things. Which is good, isn't it? That we're getting better. Even something like Titans, isn't it? In an overall, I mean, you think in Benedict we've even been making the backtracks for it, and the theme and really thinking, okay, we always thought of an idea of the characters and making the characters, like Titans have had some of the best characters ever, personally.
Vince,
yeah. A lot of people say he's one of the best characters we've ever invented or whatever. I'm trying to be modest there. But Benedict was just, I don't know, it's just, we're really thinking, what does he want? What is he trying to gain? What's he after? It's almost making like a real, what's his background? What's his family? How did that affect him? It's almost like he's a real person. We're like psychologists trying to I can't say another word, but
dissect.
Yeah, that's the one. And it's almost like, and we're learning about him almost like he's a real person. And I think that shows, and because of the effort and the detail and the time we're investing in this character of Benedict and the characters around him, whatever. And I think the idea of breaking the fourth wall, which is an idea that I loved personally, and the idea of this character that people can maybe relate to, but more just find interesting, because you're going on his journey, and that's the ultimate idea.
Yeah. That
you're going on his journey, and it's not just about what's happening around him, but you're learning about his backstory, his wants, his needs.
Yeah, it's like little spoonfuls of
and
potentially what could happen. And it kind of can do that. It can go any direction at any time.
Yeah.
And
based off the feedback and how we've gone with it, it's evolved again how we've gone with it. So
yeah, no, absolutely, and that it just goes back to what I was saying. It can go at any direction, and we've managed to achieve that. At one point, that it was very secretive. It was quite difficult to gauge, wasn't it? Which is the thing that we were trying to go for. And as I said, as the season went on, we were just spoon feeding just little bits of this is what he could potentially be like.
Yeah.
And just trying to give a little insight into the character rather than just having an open book, effectively. It just, like you said, makes it far more interesting.
And the fact that us as well are learning about him as well, and the audience are getting, like you said, they're getting spoon-fed little tiny bits of information about him. It's almost, that makes him all real as well, doesn't it? Because you're like, oh, okay, I didn't realise he had to deal with that, or he had this happen with his father and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And that makes his character so more multi-layered and interesting, because you feel like it's almost like you're getting to know a person, isn't it? And you learn about their background and where they work and what they do and how they think and what their likes and dislikes are. And that personally makes Benedict far more interesting than most characters, if not any of the characters that we've ever made.
So true. I mean, some people could possibly say, you know, not having an established character and in terms of his behaviours and what he's like could be quite dangerous, but it seems to work for this character in particular and the series. It's like Dave said before, we're kind of growing together, and that's the feel that we want to get across, isn't it? Certainly is the fact that the whole thing is for all of us to enjoy. We're enjoying making it first and foremost. You guys are enjoying watching it, and we just love the fact that at any point it could do a 360 or 180. It can go anywhere, and
it makes it very exciting, doesn't it? Because we don't even we got probably more of an idea what's going to happen in season 2 than we did in season 1 to a certain degree, but at the same time we might get halfway through everything. Actually, like you said, it
can go anywhere.
So without planning too far ahead, if it was to go on to say seasons 3 and 4, just for bear with me a second.
Let's not overkill it, mate.
Let's not overkill it. But it could end up being something completely different to what it is now, and hopefully even more interesting.
Quite right. Okay. Quite right. Okay, so shall we move on?
Let's move on. So, Benedict.
More
you talked about that.
For God's sake.
Really?
What can we expect in the next series of Benedict?
That was good timing. It's like it was meant to happen.
Wow.
I'm purposely
okay. So it's very much in the preliminary stages at the moment. In all fairness, we haven't 100% decided what's going to happen. Of course, we've got the introduction of a new character, the chap in the final episode. There's a possibility he could have been an old friend, an old enemy. We don't know. And we're certainly not going to let on anyway. So whatever. We're certainly making a second series. That character is more than likely going to be carried over. The unnamed man, shall we call him? The unknown man. What happens to Benedict? Obviously, season 2 would suggest it carries on. It could be a prequel. We haven't decided. So, like I said, it swings and roundabouts. Of course, there was the gunshot at the end, so that would suggest Benedict could have copped it. Never.
We just have to wait and see.
So yeah, I think it's going to be a case of waiting and seeing. Of course, we'll do dribs and drabs. At some point, there will be a teaser trailer.
Yeah. And another idea of a little leak of maybe an occasional little photo posts.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of
that's good show.
Characters of potentially what's happening to sort of hint at what could happen.
But I think ultimately what we want to achieve with the second season is very much the what we got with the first of we want you to grow with the characters involved in that series. Tongue-tied again.
But I suppose ultimately just mould it and continue to
just keep the same format of the season and just
don't fix it.
Yeah, exactly. Quite right.
And hopefully make it even more engaging, make it even more professional. Make an idea of making a proper little intro for it to make it almost a more professional, like TV series almost.
Sure.
But obviously you'll just have to wait and see again. We're not really giving much away, are we? But
no,
why should we? Because that keeps the mystery of it.
Exactly. It's a mystery, isn't it?
Mystery. I think we should go to the next question.
Just stop talking shit. Okay, so next question. Let's see what this one is. Can you believe it?
So anyway, Benedict.
I think we kind of crossed this question off really, but it is a tough one because I'm not sure if it's really answerable. What would you consider as the best, and that is the best production to date, and why?
And we sort of.
Well, there was top 5, but we haven't really spoke about what we would consider as the best.
I thought we sort of did that by literally singing the praises of what we've just been talking about.
Yeah, what Benedict.
So that's hard, isn't it?
I would agree to a point, but then
You got to think of what's the best for its day as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's
like
it's
game
what
consoles.
what made, what got us to this stage, what grew.
That's actually when you look at it like that, that's actually makes it more difficult.
That's kind of how I'm interpreting that question.
Yeah, because like you could say like the last two John Hurt films for a long time were considered some of the best stuff we ever did, me, you and Sam.
Yeah.
And then you had the spin-offs of Titans with me and Dan, and then Mark and you, and you know that's considered as, you know, just so much time and energy went into making the Titans in all different areas of it. Obviously, like we've already said, a lot of you guys would probably turn around and say real just because there was a thing about it, and that was literally just me. But then I feel a bit bad then because I was like, yeah, well,
Too many people.
I still love Heart for the Meadow. I still like the Journey film, especially the first one because there was just something different about it. Obviously the War, because I do like the miniseries Jax. I think that was an interesting idea. That was like almost like a filler between bigger projects, but individually they were quite good little episodes.
Yeah.
Empires was good in its day, but compared to Benedict now, it looks a bit dated, if I'm honest. But you know, in its time, it was good. There's a lot of people involved in that as well.
Yeah, I think if I had to pick one thing,
Just say real.
I would have to say real. Personally, yeah. I think it was the bar for a very, very long time.
For pretty much 10 years.
It's what's moulded us today. We go back to it, we look at it, we watch it through, and it still looks good.
I'll go there.
Doesn't it?
Because if you see it on another front, you know, as well as being filmmakers, you could argue in a way, well, we try to be almost like artists, but in the filmmaking sense, as actors or whatever. And like you say, and real moulded. So if you think of it as what I'm going with that is, you know, obviously like an artist, they have a style is where I'm going with that.
That's right.
And all artists have a style. All directors have a style. If you watch a certain director, their films have a very similar feel. And the same for our films. If you watch any of our films, good or bad, whatever you want to say on it, series, videos, they all have a certain style where you can tell we've made it, if that makes sense. So you could argue, well, not argue, agree with, real was definitely one of the components that set that style of how we go about, you know, when we go to make a film. At the back of our heads, even if you don't necessarily think about it, you're thinking, oh, that's how we did real. So that's sort of how, that's like the you know, the wheels of the project or whatever, you know.
We've forgotten one.
Forgotten one.
The Patient.
Ooh.
No, that should have been in the top 5 somewhere, which would have been tough because that would have meant we had to kick something out. But again, that was a big
still honour it.
Group production. Well, I won't rabble on about it, but again, filming was phenomenal. The script was good. It was just
it was different, wasn't it?
It was one of those productions where I watched, and generally you look to me for criticism, don't you? And I can't imagine why. Yeah, I think that was quite difficult to criticize. I would say it was done in a very real way, almost like a documentary. It was, yeah. It was kind of a different avenue.
Security cameras, almost.
That's it.
And it's just an interview with that psychologist guy, and
shame there wasn't any more of that. That was quite a good little production there. But I'm going to still, for me, I'm going to stick with real. I think it was the as I said, the bar for such a long time. And that's all I can say on it.
All right. Got the question now, but yeah, sounds good.
Never mind. Let's move
to
the next
real
one.
We're saying.
Yeah, we'll just go with real. It's real, mate.
Oh, real. Oh.
Okay. So, where did the idea of Benedict come from?
Oh,
Benedict question. Who wrote these?
Who wrote this? I do know that. I don't know what I'm getting big man for. Benedict came. I don't know if it was one idea. It was sort of a stream idea. The idea of, as I personally been getting older, I've been getting much more into politics. I've always been interested in psychology and what makes people think. Yeah. I knock out there. I don't want to name it for obvious reasons, but my favourite series had a character that broke the fourth wall that I found very interesting. I like the idea of that. It's something different. I didn't know if I could pull it off or if it could work, but I feel it has worked. So, thumbs up to me. Being a bit big-headed, but whatever. I suppose basically I wanted something that was, or we wanted something that was more serious, more grown up, more the direction that we wanted to go in, more believable, something that people could engage in. Basically an idea that just got people interested, wasn't it, really?
Right.
Just making something that people would go, you know what, that's worth watching. I want to see where this character goes and go on this creative journey of this interesting character. And it changed a lot, didn't it? I think like, we went with different ideas, and then this particular type of character we felt engaging, because I think the first ideas of the Benedict character
was a bit ropey, wasn't it?
Yeah, and we were a bit like, I don't know if that's believable, or I don't know about that. But the backstory and the idea we came up for Benedict, as such, has came across really well, I think.
I would certainly agree, but just, I mean, in the initial stages, it was effectively your idea, wasn't it? And then you kind of
One of
fired.
these 12 o'clock midnight beats.
It was literally
Bing!
that.
Oh,
It's quite irritating, actually.
I hate when I do that.
Yeah.
And I'll text Brandon like,
just
Brad, I thought an idea.
stop
Go to
doing
sleep.
it. And then 5 messages follow after that with ideas that he's got, which generally need putting right. Anyway, so it started off with
like flying elephants.
Yeah, that was not a good idea.
Don't know.
Can you believe that?
Yeah,
Benedict, as it is now, but with flying elephants. You know, if you poke his head slightly, you will hear this noise. There we go.
Oh dear.
So it was. It's literally was middle of the night. Idea fired over, flying elephants and all. And it kind of just grew from there. Really, he is perfectly sane, and it just moulded into this kind of.
Are you feeling the same I'm feeling? We're both sort of struggling to really remember. It sort of just evolved.
All I remember is that,
yeah,
really, and it just kind of went, no, that's rubbish. Let's
try again, Dave.
Take the name, take the idea, because there was the idea of the kind of murder mystery thing, wasn't it? In there, and we kind of right. Okay, well, let's go with that. Exactly. Let's go with that. With clearly some issues from the past. Let's get rid of the flying elephants and murderous donkeys and grow from there, really. And
see, my mind sometimes can be a bit over creative.
It can be quite over creative.
Yeah.
And it was stripped. The thing I think we did was we stripped it to the bare bones, didn't we? And then we reformed it. We grew it. And that's what we've ended up with today.
A few pub drinks, I think, as well.
There was a few pub drinks and chats, various screenplays, yes, no's, scratch that, do that.
A lot goes into. I mean, even now we've been doing it for, argument's sake, 15 years or whatever it is, and it's still amazing, nice parts of the way. I think people just think we click our fingers and it just magics into an episode.
We come up with an idea and go with it. There's
so much that goes into it.
There is a lot of planning.
Most of it is in the screenplay, isn't it? I think of the characters and screenplay now, and it doesn't work. And sometimes it just rattles out, and then we get something that sort of works, and then we, like clay, isn't it? And then we mould it into, oh my God, this is something that is really good. And I think that's what Benedict is becoming. It's something that we've gone, okay, this clearly really works. Let's go with it, and let's see where it goes.
Quite right, absolutely. I think that's pretty much hit the nail on the head, really. It was just...
Actually summed up in short terms for us.
Yeah, but we blagged on for about 10 minutes and you could have just said that.
I could have just said that, yeah.
Great.
I do that a lot.
Yeah, he does that a lot. Yeah. Flying elephants.
Hashtag flying elephants after this.
Yeah, let's just do a
I might just post that over the whole...
Flying elephants.
See what people say.
Okay, right. Okay. So TVR has now branched out to Instagram recently. How does this platform benefit the TVR users? Okay, so for a little while, we had a discussion of eventually branching out to Instagram. It was you were a little bit unsure about the idea at
just
first.
because so much work on all the different platforms.
And because we've got quite a major focus now on the likes of photography and getting involved with other photographers and various other bits, we get pictures sent in to us right, left, and centre to post now, and it's a good thing. And Instagram just felt like the best place to do that. It's quite a active platform, I would say.
Oh, very active.
There's hardly any restrictions to it. It's user friendly.
Yeah.
And
not to offend anybody, it's just
yeah, literally, which these days is quite difficult, isn't it?
Yeah.
Say the wrong thing and someone gets offended. Someone's going to get offended about. We are going to get sued. Yeah, so I wouldn't bother. We haven't got any money. So yeah, I mean, it was an idea that I put to you, and it literally boomed, didn't it? We
did.
After about 6 months of talking about it, we went for it. We set it up,
and we had like a few hundred followers within the first few days.
Yeah, it went absolutely crazy, and
I love the fact you can. I love the fact you can post a picture. Say like quite often, like we've done it, haven't we? We've gone to a location with the SLR and took a few pictures. Post like 1 or 2 of the best ones, and what I love about it is how engaging it is. You post it, and within seconds you've got 5, 10, 15, 20, 40 people that have all liked it and been engaged with it, and it feels like more two-way, doesn't it? And then you like their stuff and vice versa, and you feel like you're not just doing it for the sake of it, as harsh as that sounds. You know, you feel like you put your time and effort into doing something creative, and rather than just doing it for yourself, you're doing it for you guys. And it's sort of, and people go, oh, that's a cool photo, you like it, and then you click on their thing and you like their photos, and you know what I mean? It just feels more engaging, and it just seems like you're achieving something.
Yeah, and particularly for me, it was the photography element, because Dave wanted to branch out and integrate that within the universe, and didn't feel that the likes of Facebook and Twitter was going to benefit us there. We were already established on those platforms, so thank you to the Twitter guys and Facebook guys that follow us on those platforms. And of course, we've been on YouTube for quite a while, but it's I felt that we were missing a trick there, and no sooner we joined up to that and popped TVR onto the Instagram platform.
It's been a big hit, hasn't it?
It's been a huge hit.
It's probably now our second biggest platform after Twitter.
I would agree.
And in a ridiculously short time as well. I mean, we've only been on Twitter since 2016, believe it or not, 2 years, which sounds a lot, but it's not compared to, like, say, YouTube and Facebook, where they've been there forever. Especially YouTube. I couldn't even tell you what year that was. But anyway, and obviously, just briefly, I'll say this at the end as again, but thank you so much for all your support as always.
Absolutely. And I think we've got the
last question.
So
I'm a bit pre what do we call it?
Here we go. That's all right. We'll do it. We'll say it all again. It's all right. Do you want to just pop that in the glass?
Oh yeah.
To the Harry Potter fans out there. The TVR universe has a big focus on photography. How do you feel this fits in within the TVR brand, and why? Okay, so I'll start this one off. I feel, obviously, first and foremost, it was quite a big hobby for yourself, I would say.
Yeah.
It's something that's always fascinated Dave. I'm not such a big photographer myself, but it's something that a lot of people are interested in, and it kind of ties into everything that we wanted to reach out to. And first and foremost, to answer the first question, it's a big help to the TVR universe, because of course videography and photography kind of fall into a very similar bracket. And we've been in contact with various video makers, photographers that are giving us hints and tips, and we watch their stuff, they watch ours, we like their photos, so on and so forth. And I feel we've got a lot from that. Almost definitely.
So thank you guys.
Why we did it, quite simple. I think we tapped on that in the previous question.
You need to just expand, don't you?
Exactly.
Constantly evolving all the time, otherwise you just become stagnant, don't you?
Yeah, we'd maximise the potential of Facebook. We felt we'd done the same on Twitter, and Instagram was an untouched entity, and I feel that certainly with the photography side of it, it's certainly grown it. I would say.
I would 100% agree. What I feel personally I get for it, which I think benefits the TVI universe, is one thing I really feel about Instagram, especially, it gives you this extra platform where you can, not only show your pictures, but on a more personal level. I like to think I have a very creative mind. I mean, I must do to come up with all these crazy ideas like flying elephants. But for me personally, what I love about it, and I was even doing it a few hours ago, is when you say type in photography, hashtag, whatever, and you come across some of the most amazing pictures. And in a weird way, I know it probably sounds weird maybe to some people, but that in turn really inspires me personally as a creator, as an artist, director, whatever.
Quite right.
And from that, I then get inspired, like, oh, yeah. And then somehow, just by looking at a interesting picture, that might give me an idea for a camera shot or an idea for a film or something like we can incorporate into one of our new series. And I love that. I found it, for me, the most beneficial platform, just in the sense of it really inspired my own creativity, which then in turns makes it easier to make films and series, as weird as that sounds.
Yeah, I think
And get out there and take my own pictures, and it's like being on stage, and we've both done that, being on stage.
Yeah.
It's like you give so much energy to you guys, the audience, and then you give it back with your feedback, which then in turn fuels our fire to be even more creative. And that's how I feel, especially on Instagram. Twitter and to Facebook, yes, but Instagram especially.
Yes, it is quite rewarding, isn't it? You do get quite a lot from it, and as you quite rightly said, the feedback that we get on Instagram is astronomical.
Yeah,
it comes in
nice
waves and
comments,
flows,
encouragement, keep posting. And that's the basic ones. Some of them give whole essays of why they like a certain picture. Like, all right, I took a picture of a carrot.
Yeah.
All right. But it's nice.
There's a flower.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is. It's.
I was bored with Adam tea one night.
Yeah, literally. I think it's. We don't want to blab on and talk over, repeat ourselves, but it is just literally a case of. It's helped us grow.
Definitely.
Very beneficial.
Very beneficial. So you have to have thanks for that then, Brad.
I will take full credit for that, and Twitter.
Yeah. And Twitter.
Yeah.
That's your idea as well, yeah.
And yeah, I just think it's what we needed to do to grow the brand effectively.
Yeah.
So,
and TVI Universe is a brand now, isn't it? Well,
it
that's
is.
what we're aiming for, to build it into a brand ultimately. And you guys help that with all your likes, your subscribing, your feedback, especially just watching, this video, our films, our series of, Benedict, blah, blah, blah. And that in turn makes all of us the TVI universe.
Quite right. Quite right.
There we go.
Well, I think we're out of questions.
We are. I just want to briefly say thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you for watching me and Brad. And we'll repost this in a moment onto Facebook for more people to watch. And also a big thank you to everyone who likes, shares, comments. Please keep sending feedback. That's really handy. It's really useful, constructive. It's brilliant. And feel free to subscribe onto our channel. Don't forget to do
Absolutely,
that.
100%.
And even more importantly, get all your family and friends to do exactly the same.
Yeah, absolutely. Your
help it all grow.
support is massively appreciated. It goes a long way. Just a simple like, subscription. It doesn't take long. And most importantly, the most rewarding thing for us is absolutely what you just said, is the feedback. So if you've got anything to say, anything that you feel that we could work on,
Even
do
if it's
better,
an idea.
absolutely that, then do feel free to ping it across. But I think that's a wrap.
That's all right.
So this is Dave.
And this is Brad. And see you next year.
Take it easy.
Make it so.